be narrating my medical clearance experience at St. Luke's Bocobo, Ermita, Malate, Manila. So I went there March 1st at 4 in the morning. Helpful tip number 1. Prior to going there, I read blogs and watched vlogs for 2021 of people experiencing long queues. So there was one person who shared that it would be helpful if you go there prior to their business hours. So I decided to go there at 4 in the morning. Surprisingly, there was already a long queue. And after a few minutes of arriving, the guard of St. Luke's has been giving away numbers. And I was given number 18. So imagine I was there 4, but I was still number 18. But still, I'm lucky to be part of the first 20. And I just positively, optimistically think or thought that I'll be the first few folks that they will be catering. So at around 5:30 in the morning, they started accommodating and entertaining people entering the building. And when it was my time to be called, the guard just collected the papers, the documents that they need before an applicant enters the building. So helpful tip number 2, the documents that anyone would need to bring when they do their medical clearance at St. Luke's are 2 copies of your interview letter, your passport, 1 photocopy of your passport's biographic or data page, and 4 visa photos, 3 for the embassy, 1 for St. Luke's. And me, my character is always a Girl Scout, always ready. So I've written on a piece of paper my husband's information, my petitioner's information, which contains his full name, our address in the US, his phone number, and email address. I think you could empathize with me because when I do cramming or when I'm panicky or a mix of excitement for this process to be completed, I tend to forget. Hence, I need this sort of practice or a habit. So when they will ask, I have it with me and I will never forget because it's written in a piece of paper. So the only hiccup I had on that part was more of the guard asking me to write down my full name at the back of one of my visa photos. So after I did that, he gave all those documents back to me and I was asked to enter St. Luke's. But prior to entering, because this is the pandemic, it is necessary for you to write down your COVID-19 declaration information. The guard will give you a sheet of paper for you to write it all down. And after that, I was asked na po to enter the building. And then the guard just instructed me to sit anywhere because I'm on queue and they will call my name. And I was also instructed that it will be the receptionist at the first floor that will be calling my number and my name. But prior to being called, there's a small room at the left side from the entrance where the guards would be calling you. Since I'm number 18 and when it was my turn, they called me to enter the small room, and on which they will be taking pictures of me and the rest of the folks who were on queue that day. So it was just less than a 5-minute process, and I was asked to step out of the small room and then wait for my name to be called. So when the receptionist called my name, the only information they asked was of course, my full name and then my petitioner's name. And after that, I was asked by the receptionist from the first floor to go to the 5th floor for payment. Another helpful tip / disclaimer. Every step I will be saying here is not step 1, step 2, step 3, from the point of receptionist to the point of payment to the point of everything that you will be doing inside St. Luke's. Everyone has their different experiences. I've befriended and also talked to some of the applicants for US visa immigration. Some, after the reception, they were asked to go to the 3rd floor for x-ray. Some, after the reception, they were asked to go to the 4th floor for blood and urine sample. But from my experience, I was asked to go to the 5th floor for payment. So it is also your preference if you want to take the stairs or the elevator. So I took the elevator. So I went to the fifth floor, made the payment, and in terms of payment, I prepared the exact amount of 17,025 pesos. Yes, that's the amount that you would need to prepare and to pay for your medical clearance. Just an add-on for folks who will have children for their immigrant application. For children, it's 9,583 pesos. So when I went to the payment section, the girl who collected my payment after that has instructed me to go to the fourth floor for blood and urine sample. So I went there. Additional helpful tip. So prior to having your urine sample collected, you should not peed or hindi kayo naihi for the last 30 minutes, or else when they ask you, the nurse would ask you to wait for additional 30 minutes before you can even have your urine sample being given to them. And of course, same old, pag urinalysis, kailangang tubig ang ating kaibigan. So the questions were asked: did I pee 30 minutes prior to having this process? And I said no, and I also drank water. So the nurse gave me the urine bottle. I collected it, gave it to her, and then after that I went for my blood uh, sample. It was an easy peasy process, even if I'm afraid of injections. Magaling yung naghawak sa akin, hindi mabigat yung kamay niya. And then after that, the nurse from the blood sample part has instructed me to go to the third floor for x-ray. So I went to the third floor. Just a disclaimer, prior to going there, me and my husband has been praying really hard that in the x-ray part, they will be seeing nothing, because my medical history, when I do annual physical exam at work or when I transfer from one company to another, I will always have a hit when it comes to x-ray. And so far, wala po silang nakikita. I am a very healthy person. I make sure I sleep well, I eat well. Hence, lahat ng mga yon lumalabas, may hit, pero at the end, when the doctor evaluates my x-ray or they ask me for additional tests like sputum and so on and so forth, wala po silang nakikita. So, prior to going to St. Luke's, we are already half expecting actually, na baka may hit. Pero we're still half expecting na magiging okay at walang cause of delay. So when I went to the third floor for x-ray, the only question I was asked by the nurse conducting the said process was more of like, am I pregnant? And I said, no, I'm not. That's very impossible. Bubble thoughts. So I did my x-ray, done, and then the nurse said I have to go to the fifth floor for physical exam. So I went to the fifth floor. I gave my papers to the nurse who's on the fifth floor and asked to wait. And then in less than 10 minutes, I was called, and I had my height and weight measured and sight test as well. And then again, I was asked to sit and wait for my name to be called because it will be the doctor who will soon evaluate my medical history. So when I was called by the doctor, I was asked questions about if I had any major or minor surgery, and also if there are additional things that was done to me, and I said none. And since they will be evaluating your body, they will be seeing scars, and I have a scar po sa paa. So pati yung yon, the doctor has asked me how did I got it, and then of course I told her that I'm an active and rowdy child, hence nakuha ko yung peklat na yon. So yes, there will be nitty-gritty when it comes to things like that. Just expect it. And for people who have experiences in terms of annual physical exams at work, or kung nagpapa-executive checkup po kayo, whatever you have experienced from those hospitals or clinics will also be the same experience you will have in St. Luke's. After the doctor was done with my physical evaluation, the doctor has said, go down to the third floor because they have additional feedback about your x-ray. And I felt a little bit of a tug in my heart. Parang na-expect ko na po yung sasabihin ng nurse pagbaba ko sa third floor. So when I went to the third floor, I gave my slip, meaning I'm done at the fifth floor. And then the nurse said I just have to wait for my name to be called. I waited only for 10 minutes. And prior to being called, there was a girl in front of, or was in front of my queue, who was called and was given a white slip. I know what a white slip means. Slip means because prior to going there, I read some vlogs that they will only be giving two kinds of slips whenever you're almost done with your medical clearance: yellow and white. When it's white, then that means you're good to go for immunization or vaccine, which will be conducted at the second floor. But if it's yellow, then that means there's a hit in your x-ray. So my name was called and I was given a yellow slip. Alam ko na po, ina-expect ko na, pero partly I was sad because there will be a delay, and partly na-expect ko na siya. So the nurse had given me the yellow slip and has given me instructions that I will be undergoing sputum. I was expecting that they will be adding additional feedback about it kasi yung nabasa ko rin sa mga blogs and nakita ko sa mga videos na parang nag-comment sila that there was a hit, but they did not mention that. They were just saying that there will be a sputum test to be conducted in the next 3 days, which I will be further explaining on my next phase of this video. But before I even conclude this video, so the only question I had with the nurse would be, what would be the time that I would need to go back for the sputum test? And they said preferably before 6 para makaiwas sa pila. And I'm going to also inform you on my next phase why you should be there consecutively. Also, as I've mentioned on additional helpful tip, if you want to clarify all of these things I've said, please visit the website of St. Luke's at slec or slec.ph. And everything I said, the amount, the steps are all there. So comment below if you have any additional input or feedback you wanted to share about your experience or you're about to experience on St. Luke's. But tune in for the next phase, and thank you very much.